Imagine an iPhone so thin it actually beats Samsung at its own game. That's exactly what Apple is about to unveil with the iPhone 17 Air set to launch on September 9. At just around 5.5 millimeters thick, this is expected to be the slimmest iPhone ever, and even thinner than Samsung's Galaxy S25 Edge. It's Apple making a bold statement. The Plus is gone, and the Air is here to redefine what a sleek iPhone can be. Now, why does this matter? Because thin phones are notoriously difficult to get right. You usually sacrifice battery life, durability, or even performance just to shave off a couple of millimeters. But with the iPhone 17 Air, Apple isn't just chasing looks. They're positioning this phone as the perfect middle ground between the regular iPhone 17 and the Pro lineup. Think of it like the iPad Air. Premium enough to feel special, but not quite as intense as the Pro. So let's break down what makes this device so intriguing. The headline feature is, of course, the chassis. Apple is pushing for a design that's expected to measure either 5.44 or 5.5 millimeters compared to Samsung's 5.8 millimeters on the Galaxy S25 Edge. On paper, that difference doesn't sound huge, but in practice, you'll notice it the moment you hold it. Early dummy units already show just how strikingly thin it looks. Inside, things get even interesting. The iPhone 17 Air could ship with a modified version of Apple's A19 Pro chip. If true, this would be a big departure from Apple's usual strategy, where Pro-level processors are reserved only for Pro models. The graphics might be toned down a bit, but the fact that this chip is even in the conversation shows Apple rethinking how it divides its lineup. Add in the possibility of 12 gigabytes of RAM finally on an iPhone, and the Air could be surprisingly capable for multitasking and Apple Intelligence features. But here's the catch. That razor-thin design comes at a cost. The battery is rumored to be just 2,900 milliamp hours. To put that in perspective, Samsung's rival S25 Edge is packing 3,900. And we're talking about a big 6.7-inch phone running heavy AI tasks. On paper, that's concerning. Apple will need serious software optimization in iOS 26 to make sure the Air lasts a full day. Otherwise, all that thinness could backfire. Speaking of iOS 26, this will be the first phone to ship with Apple's new liquid glass design. The whole interface has been reimagined to feel dynamic, reflective, and fluid, perfectly matching the sleek, minimalist vibe of the Air. It's one of those rare times where the software and hardware design language seem to sync perfectly. Now let's talk about price. For years, the Plus model held the $899 spot, but the Air could see a $50 bump starting at $949. That puts it dangerously close to the Pro, which is expected to start at $1,049. For some buyers, that narrow gap could create a real dilemma. Do you stretch a little more for Pro features or settle for the Air's ultra-thin aesthetic? One of the strangest rumors is that the iPhone 17 Air might actually use titanium for its frame. Normally, you'd expect Apple to reserve titanium for Pro models, but analysts suggest the Air could be the only iPhone 17 to feature it. That's unusual because titanium is heavier than aluminum, which doesn't exactly scream Air, but titanium also brings durability. So maybe Apple sees it as a way to balance out the risks of such a thin build. Camera-wise, Apple seems to be making trade-offs. The iPhone 17 Air is expected to have just one rear camera, a 48-megapixel main sensor. For some users, that'll feel limiting compared to the multiple lenses on Pro models. On the flip side, the selfie camera could get a big boost, upgraded to 24 megapixels and repositioned on the left side of the dynamic island to fit the slimmer body. Add in rumors of a variable aperture on the rear lens, and Apple might be aiming for quality over quantity in photography. And here's a nostalgic twist. Apple might bring back the bumper case. Remember the iPhone 4 days? Reports suggest Apple has tested a similar case for the Air, designed to emphasize its super thin profile while protecting just the edges. It's unclear if it will actually launch, but the idea shows how much Apple is leaning into the thin-first identity of this phone. So what does all this mean? The iPhone 17 Air is shaping up to be one of the boldest design experiments Apple has attempted in years. It's thinner than its biggest rival, possibly tougher with titanium, and powered by hardware that edges closer to Pro territory. But with a small battery, a single rear camera, and a price uncomfortably close to the Pro, it's also a gamble. For Apple fans, this is exciting because it signals the company is willing to take risks again. The Air isn't just another iteration. It's Apple trying to redefine what a non-Pro iPhone can be. Whether it succeeds or struggles will come down to how well Apple balances form and function. But one thing's certain, this September, the thinnest iPhone ever made will also be the one everyone's watching. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.